1. Hey everybody, will one of you guys, by the way, check Twitch, make sure we're twitching?
Oh, I can do that.
Great. Once we are, I will bring us in.
It looks like we are. I mean, listen. Yep, good.
Okay, great. Hi, this is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective, as well as the stories we're telling, at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with episode 7. Let's find out who's in this episode. First, I'm Sir Robert Burbridge. I'm a father and entrepreneur, and I'm the host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character that you're playing. We will start in your screen with Matt. Matt, when you're done, just hand it off to the next person.
Awesome. My name is Matthew Talamini. I am a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, TALAMINI.com. I play the shirtless wizard, level 2 human, Diamondback, a.k.a. Diamondback. Next, I want to hear about Jared and what his character is and who he is.
I play Yoshka. He is like a gypsy in this world. They're called wayfarers, and he's a bard from the Chile regions. And let's see, Belvari.
Hello, I'm Belvari, and this week I am not sponsored by unsweetened iced tea. It's good for you.
It's got antioxidants.
And Belvari tacitly handed it off to Josh, who's playing Gulb.
Oh, gold. No, it's Wilb.
I guess, man. Right now, I'm just Josh. I'm not playing anybody because I'm playing D&D with a homicidal maniac who is trapped me in the cube. And, what happens when you're in the cube? Well, people die. And I did. That's what I did. I'm dead. So I'm not playing anybody. I don't have a character.
I DM'd for 8 seasons in the Octagon.
How did you like
triple credit dragon wearing a robe? Forget about it.
That's right. You think anybody wants to get DM'd with these bad boys on? All right, Aaron.
Alrighty, I'm Davina, human, level 1, druid, into defensive architecture.
Great. I'm going to give...
Check this out, people. I'm just going to pass the skill check and walk away. Just pass the skill check and walk away.
I'm going to give a little bit of intro to this episode, and we're just going to do a cold start after the intro to let you know what happened in the previous episode. Our heroes, if you'd like to call them that, namely Diamondback, Yoshka, Sleen, and Davina, had a bit of a tumult in the town that they were in, and the guards of that town saw that Diamondback had been flashing around some of his writing, to put it loosely. They saw some glyphs and ciphers and were like, this guy's no good. Writing
his opening move to bribe the guard was to hand him an illegal piece of writ.
'Tis true. The Iron Bell, the oppressive, the benevolent governance of this place that tells everyone how they may best live, has decided that writing is, along with lore and anything like that, is completely forbidden. So when the guards saw that, when the town basically, I don't know what you call the person who filters people.
The gate guard.
The gate guard.
The gate guard, yeah.
Sure, when the gate guard saw that, he let them go in, but he quickly and promptly went and got some more military guard, and they came and cast very high-level spells to completely decimate Diamondback and Diamondback and Sleen, who were full of bravado and perhaps themselves. No one can know. Feeling outmatched, Diamondback and Sleen were ready to leave. Yoshka was caught up in the trouble, and through probably no fault of his own, was considered to be one of the miscreants there. Davina, seeing her new friend Yoshka about to be killed, slipped in, decided to help Yoshka. Diamondback and Sleen followed. They made their way through some filthy raw sewage in the back.
But not before someone cast a huge cloud of fog, and that made all the difference in the world.
It is
was
true.
The only reason why Sleen was able to cover and kill the wizard and get out.
That's true. Davina cast a cloud fog, a big foggy zone that they couldn't see through, and that allowed the tiefling witch and her necromancer sidekick to make good on their wicked escape from the perspective of the guards. They got through this little sewage patch through their septic area had a problem that Davina, the would-be defensive expert, had noticed in their wall. Made it into the forest. Unfortunately, it was right before the dying of the light that day. They were able to get into the forest and took a chance, not finding any place to stay, took a chance to walk a little bit at night. They did. The best shelter they found at night was a thicket. In the middle of the night, while Yoshka and Sleen were on watch and Diamondback and Davina were fast asleep, they heard a rustling overhead. They heard a little bit of commotion and something moving down a thin strand. They heard the rustling of the bramble above them, and in a moment, the bramble opened, a creature reached in, bit Sleen, and to my, as the DM, personal astonishment, killed her in one action, dragged her out, and it had its meal for the night. Yoshka was, let's say, taken aback. And we are going to pick up the scene right now with Yoshka. It is the middle of the night. Sleen was in the middle of talking with Yoshka about whatever they were talking about, with a very small campfire that Diamondback had lit with his torch. They were in the middle of talking, heard something, kind of a, shh, what's that? What's that? And
too soon.
Yeah, 10, 15 seconds later, Sleen is gone from their lives, ripped apart by a giant-looking spidery thing with legs, and removed. Since Sleen disappeared, approximately 10 seconds have passed. We are picking up with Yoshka, deep in the night, the only one awake, figuring out what to do.
And Yoshka's still fairly young, maybe 20. This is one of the first deaths he's seen. He's heard a lot about it, but traveling, usually they stay fairly far from any fights that they see. And so...
And Yoshka, just to jump in for a second for our listening audience, Yoshka is not from a village, or rather he's from a roving village, a type of person you find rarely but sometimes in the jungle called wayfarers. They travel from town to town, usually a family of anywhere between 15 to 30 people, so kind of an extended family, as a village, sort of gypsy-esque. And they travel between towns, spreading news, doing trade, sometimes as performers. Yoshka has been separated from his troop of wayfarers, and that's why he's saying they usually escape. They usually are not around when towns get towned by the Iron Bell or by someone. Sorry, go ahead, Yoshka.
So he just sits stunned in silence, looking up into the darkness, and imagining himself being plucked up, and then looking over at his sleeping new friends, just numb and not knowing what to do. And then looking over at the empty sack of belongings that Sleen had, and then looking away quickly, turning his back physically to it. Or I guess we're in a bush. Were we laying down? I was imagining us sitting, but something like that, laying down.
Sure. You're on guard. You are awake. There's one more watch left, and you're right at the end of the first watch. Remember, y'all started at about 10 p.m. ish. You and Sleen had been watching for about 3 hours, getting to know each other when this happened. You're right towards the end of the middle watch of the night. And as far as sitting or laying down, you tell us. But you're in a small thicket of brambles that's got maybe a 5-foot radius would-be dome of space underneath the brambles. So there's like enough room for y'all to be all in there. You thought there was some cover, and there was, but not enough for a spider not to detect you and do what it did. So what do you do? It's about 1 a.m., maybe 2 a.m.
I'm gonna lay on my side thinking about that and eventually trying to go to sleep, but not quite being able to, and drifting off, probably sleeping, like barely falling asleep and then waking up again, probably throughout the night until one of the characters wakes up.
So there was some question before.
Hey, man. It's his character.
It's his character.
Sorry, hold on just a sec. I didn't hear what you said, Matt.
My character expects his character to be on watch or to wake somebody else up to be on watch if he wants to sleep.
Yeah, also...
But my character's asleep and can't do anything about it right now, so what he narrates is what happens.
And Yoshka's young, he's not like... he's not like 5, but he's a teenager, late teens, trying to figure it out. Remember, Yoshka, that there was some kind of agreement that you would, obviously, this may have, dissolved, but that you were going to wake up Davina for the second watch, the last watch of the night, but you had been debating about whether or not Yoshka actually would have the presence of mind for that. So I'll let you kind of work through that, if you will, and just let us know what goes on.
Okay. I'm going to take your guys' voice as something like my conscience. And so eventually, like after I've dozed off and not been able to sleep a couple times, because I don't know how to deal with this, and people don't just do what they plan on doing in times like this.
Right.
I'll eventually be like, ugh, and then just sit up and sit there unhappily for a while, probably until dawn. Kind of, and then sometimes remembering to keep watch, but not doing a very good job.
So Yoshka has a hard time sleeping for kind of obvious reasons, something really dramatic and traumatic. This happened right before his eyes. A person he's gotten to know who was friendly and a little weird looking as a tiefling, and also super charismatic, so they hit it off well, very attractive, all that stuff.
Devastatingly beautiful.
So the rumor goes is she was, just to let our audience know, she had a charisma of something like 19, is that right?
17.
17? So,
but she also had a leather jacket and a mohawk and super polished horns and glossy black hair and literally like ruby red skin at some places.
So that undoubtedly increases charisma.
Yeah.
So sounds good. So it's going to be dawn-ish. Dawn happens, well, I should say morning comes at about 6 a.m. It's very regular here. You have 12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of night. So it's in the neighborhood of what we would consider 6 a.m. Yoshka, what time are you going to wake up the others, and who are you going to wake up?
I'm going to let the sun rise and not wake anybody up.
Not even after the sun has risen?
I'm just going to see if they wake up. If nobody gets up after like an hour, I'll wake them up like an hour after sunrise.
Okay.
If nobody wakes up, I'll wake up Davina.
Okay.
Diamondback would wake up on his own after his 8-hour long rest.
So at around first light. Okay.
Do I get the benefits of a long rest?
Yeah, you absolutely get a long rest. Davina, you also get a long rest in your... Wait, Davina, you're muted, I think.
Yep, that was deliberate.
Okay. Davina's also getting a long rest. So what happens here is it is right around 5:45 in the morning, and the birds of the jungle that they are in start chirping and cawing. There is some light creeping in. The deep black mist that has made everything completely dark, including within their little enclosure, except for the fact that there was a small campfire that they made. That dark mist begins to sort of like dissipate and thin, which is what normally happens during the day. So you begin to hear an increasing, number of birds and creatures. You're not in a swamp area anymore. You're more in a jungle area, so it's a little different. And around 6:30, 6 o'clock, Diamondback, seeing that light creeping in, starts stretching and yawning. He feels a lot better. Davina, what time do you wake up, do you think, on your own?
I think I wake up as soon as any of them say anything, which I think is immediate because as soon as Diamondback wakes up, his friend is gone, and so they start talking about it, and I'm awake instantly.
So when they start talking, you wake up. Yoshka and Diamondback, why don't I have you wake up? Go.
So Diamondback is going to wake up, and his first sort of order of business is to check his component pouch. Is everything still there?
You're checking your component pouch?
Yeah.
Yes, everything that you had. You generally don't take that off at night or any time. Most people,
Yeah, but
in
right.
this situation,
I was asleep, so somebody could have one of these rifle
Pickpocketed.
around me could have pickpocketed me. So I'm just checking to make sure it's all there.
Everything
And it's all there.
Everything you expected to be there is there.
Okay. I look around, get the lay of the land.
As I see him doing that, I kind of come out of some brooding,
A reverie.
and I take Sleen's bag and toss it to him and say, "This should be yours."
What? Why?
Your friend is gone.
Now, Davina has woken up at this point because y'all have been talking already. Davina, if you want to jump in and either narrate what you do or not, you stay silent, or you can speak at any time, of course, since you're now awake.
Almost as soon as I wake up and notice/hear that Sleen is gone, I pretty much immediately jump into something like a hissy fit. What? Where'd she go? Did she leave us? What happened? Where'd she take her stuff?
And are you playing a halfling, Aaron?
Human.
Human. Okay.
I just point. My character points up and said, "The night took her."
I'm going to need a little bit more than that. What form did this night take?
I didn't know. We were sitting. I heard something from the trees, and quickly something large came down, and she let out a little cry, and I could hear her no more, and I saw it go up.
Mm. Diamondback doesn't say anything for a little while. He begins processing.
Davina, on the other hand, jumps in angrily. Are you kidding me? Some ghoul of the night came in and took Sleen, and you didn't go get her back? You didn't wake us up? You didn't at least get us out of this place where the monsters come and swoop from the night and take us away? And I'm like hurling whatever I can get my hands on at Yoshka, peeved as all get out.
Where could we go? This bush is all we have. Where else will we go? Into the mist?
She's stumped. She doesn't have anything to say, but she's still ticked.
Diamondback says, "Okay. Well." He looks at Yoshka and sort of sizes him up, maybe for the first time
Good point.
Really? You're one of those wayfarers.
Yeah.
How old are you?
Not much older than you. 20?
I'm the oldest person in this party, and I am desperate for an adult around us. This
This
is just sinking in right now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid we have a job to do.
Okay,
The
tell me.
town, Goroda. The halfling watchman at their gate owes me one life.
What?
You can come with me or not. And he starts gathering up his stuff, getting ready to go back the way they came.
Do you mean owes you a life because of his actions your friend is now dead? Or do you mean owes you a life because you're a magician who deals with life and death? Are you going to try and magic her back?
The halfling offered us hospitality and then brought violence after that. He owes me one life for Sleen's life. That halfling. That one.
Okay. Let us think. You are a thinker, yes? And I'm going to try to start persuading him here. We are young. What can we do? Do you remember the 4 men? They were bigger than us. They were strong. You know magic? Did you know their magic?
The 4 men were police. They were doing their job. They didn't betray me.
So what we want to do now is, first, Matt. I would, if it were an NPC right now, I would have Yoshka rolling a persuasion check. Obviously, you're kind of running the psyche of Diamondback. So I'm interested in knowing, just as a DM, how persuadable you think Diamondback is out of this idea. They don't have to know this, just for me to know how we should set this up mechanically.
Diamondback is very not persuadable.
Okay. As in...
So are you asking Matthew to place a DC on his persuadability?
Yeah, let's say something like that.
The DC on Diamondback's persuadability is 20.
Okay. So, Yoshka, if you can roll a persuasion check, and you're with whatever your stuff is, if you can roll a 20 on your persuasion, you can persuade him. You've given an argument.
Heck, Yosh, I'd have given you a 22.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking pretty high. I was actually probably going to contest it against some high...
We can do... well, no, I think because I know Diamondback's... This is a decision that comes out of Diamondback's upbringing and what official D&D would call his... commitments or flaws or whatever that stuff you're supposed to write in your character sheet is.
Yeah.
You would get advantage +5 plus your bonus.
I think it's up to the DM, but Diamondback is it would be out of character for him to not do this. So I think if you're gonna roll, it should be a real high DC.
I'm happy for you just to pick the DC you think you're persuadable at, even if it was even if it was unachievably high. But 20 seems fine.
That is a super, super cool house rule. I love that. I've never done that at a table anywhere, and I think it's awesome.
I mean, actually, what I'm thinking is
Thanks.
like 20 plus Diamondback's wisdom modifier,
Which is what?
which is 2.
Okay. Yoshka, and Davina, if you are interested in persuading, helping them persuade, I'm okay with advantage on that. But you need to roll a 22 on your persuasion, whoever that is, either Yoshka or Davina. Davina, if you want to help, Yoshka can roll it with advantage. He can roll 2 dice. If you don't want to help, it'll just be Yoshka trying.
I'm willing to persuade, but I'm not interested in persuading him to stop. I think a life is owed. But I'm totally willing to try and persuade him to delay and be strategic. Come back when we can have total mastery and not risk any failure at exacting the appropriate revenge.
Okay.
Does sound like separate.
Josh.
Sorry.
Just real quickly. Sorry, I didn't mean Josh. I meant Matt. Do you think that that's an easier DC to say, yeah, you should get your revenge, but we should come back and do it when we're stronger?
Diamondback doesn't have his plan yet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we should probably talk about it in character.
Yeah, go for it. That's true. Yeah. Why don't you give your arguments? That's a great idea, Matt. Thank you. Why don't you give your arguments and start, kind of trying to persuade? And when we're at a point where it's a good time for us to say, okay, now Diamondback's going to make his decision, then we'll figure out the DC based on what you've said.
So Diamondback says, listen, the halfling gatekeeper, he stays in a small room inside the gate. It's not easy for him to get out of there. Knock on the door. When the panel opens, throw in some kind of net entangling and trapping device. Trap him in there. Gum up the works of the machine that he uses. And then magic missile, magic missile, magic missile. Point blank. And then we go. And my business is done.
That does sound like a pretty good plan. But given how central he is to the city, there's no way we're not getting the entire army from that city coming after us. And we are...
What army? 4 guys.
And
they
all the able-bodied people who are skulking around waiting to see our destruction in the Battle of Main Street. We need a better plan that lets us be more sure of getting away.
Everyone there hates us. She set their village on fire. If anyone sees us, what will they do? They will be strong, unified against us. Everyone older than us, with all of their magics, all stronger than us.
That's a fantastic idea. Can you drain their water so that it's not available? And then we can set the village on fire.
So it was one thing to set the village on fire when we were trying to escape. It was kind of an accident of the battle. We weren't actually trying to kill the whole village. And the whole village doesn't owe you a life. There's an unbalance here. You're going to come out the villain.
Snake Clan.
Now,
have you heard of the Snake Clan? Assassins for hire.
Tell us.
It's very important that everybody knows that you cannot just try and kill a member of the Snake Clan and chase him out of your village without consequences.
Gosh, so it's actually important to you that this happen immediately. Can we do it when we are guaranteed success and in a way that guarantees every person in that village knows what clan gets the credit? This way, they'll know that with this current plan, they'll know their gatekeeper of 17 years died. They will have a guess that it had something to do with last night's kerfuffle. And if they happen to see us, they will chase us down until they are successful. And we don't have anywhere to run to, and we don't have enough magic to fight them off. I say we gather what we need for a really effective plan that gets the Snake Clan the full credit it's due. That might take a little bit. We may need to go follow the wayfarers as best we can for a while. I don't know what we're doing next, but I want us to get away from this.
I was gonna draw a snake somewhere.
You're the best. Okay.
I mean, no one will even know. I was gonna draw a snake. I mean, this
Quick interjection, Davina.
Yeah.
There is nothing you're going to do next. You guys are out wandering alone in the forest with nowhere to go.
That's my sidebar to Yoshka. I want Yoshka
Got it.
to steer us in the direction he thinks his wayfarers went, because my Davina is petrified of being out of a city. She's never been out. She's into defensive walls. Her one time in this new city went miserably. Her one time trying to find a safe place in the wilderness went miserably. She really just wants to find some people who are good at being out and about, and Yoshika's people are good at being out and about. If we can trail them, find them, use whatever clues we have to see maybe where they've gone. That's what I mean to Yoshika. I don't know where we're going, but I don't want to go back to the city right now.
And I'm going to say to Matt's character, look, do you have a snake clan?
Oh gosh, good point.
And this is where
You guys fall into
if
fisticuffs?
if you're emotionally sensitive enough, you would see Diamondback just shut down.
Yoshka and Davina, roll perception. No, roll insight.
Insight.
I still think that's a high DC, though.
9 plus 2, I've got an 11.
Okay. And Yoshka? How much?
10.
Diamondback, did they notice anything?
Yeah, they definitely see a change come over him. And he says to Davina, I'll make you this offer. We go to the edge of the forest. We look, throw some pebbles at the gate, see who opens up. If it's the halfling, we do my plan. If there are like 100 guards standing around waiting to lightning bolt us to death, we go do whatever you guys want.
I have offer also. Why don't you come with me? We don't know how to do this, to live outside in the wild. We must find my people, and you can come with us. We will find you a place to live. We go from village to village. We will find a village that wants you, that can write.
And then
We'll find a village that can write. I love it.
This is where I think, on hearing this argument, where Diamondback is going to make his probably like charisma check to keep it together.
What does keep it together mean?
Okay, yeah. So his emotional fortitude is not quite up to this, and you maybe see like the tears start in the edges of his eyes, and he sort of turns away. Can we at least go to the edge of the forest?
Okay.
First.
I'm gonna take the risk of putting my arm around him and say, "Okay, friend, let's go see."
Okay. So we actually, in that negotiation, have obviated the need for a persuasion check. It just went a certain way. So y'all have agreed to go back to the town and to the edge of the forest, remembering that the town has clear cut the forest, the low wood, for about, not very far, but for about maybe 50 feet in every direction. Probably that's what they use to make the palisade, the palisades, the stockade around the town. If you go more or less south, it'll take you several hours to get back. Remember, you traveled north into the jungle. It'll take you several hours to get back. If you do that, you will be at the north side of the town where there is no entrance. You need to then skirt around the town in order to get towards the entrance where the little impish halfling who Diamondback believes betrayed them. Remember, his name was Flibbert. You have to go about 180 degrees around the town and come back at it from the southeast-ish, southeast, in order to see that side of the entrance where Diamondback wants to see it. So that's okay with me. I just wanted to let you know you're going to spend 3 hours approximately finding your way back there, assuming you don't get lost in the meantime.
That's the plan that Diamondback is proposing, and it seems that Yoshka and Davina have agreed to.
We don't have a better plan. Like, we have to take off from somewhere to go find Yoshka's people. We might as well take off from the city that he stopped at.
Okay.
And as we travel, Yoshka is going to be looking around for distractions, especially he remembers this guy Diamondback is interested in all the little stuff he collects. So I'm going to try to I'm going to be searching for things as we go, trying to slow the pace.
So I've actually got a mechanism for that, mechanically for how we're going to do that. If you want to have one person take the lead of your party to kind of lead you in the direction that you're going, that person will roll your survival checks or whatever the type of check it is to make your progress. And the other parts of the party can be keeping an eye out for components, magical places where you might be able to find some components. You could say, hey, look at this, stop, something like that. So why don't y'all pick a party leader who will be rolling those things? Or two of you, you could share the responsibility. Maybe only Yoshka is going to be looking out. But Yoshka, you could sidebar with Davina and try to see if that'll work.
Yeah. I'm not telling Diamondback what I'm doing, trying to slow the pace here. So I'm just going to look to Davina to lead us and see if she can understand my look. I think she was involved in leading us last time.
Okay.
While I, not even necessarily seriously. I guess I'll search, but even if I'm not finding anything, I'll just be like, hey, what? Is that something you could use?
So, Davina, you had a higher survival, so you and Sleen were both doing that. Also, because you were in the lead, you probably know the way a little bit better. Are you up for? Actually, why don't you roll me a perception check, and I want to see if you pick up on. It's an easy one, but I want to see if you pick up on Yoshka's kind of hint.
If I don't, I'm sure that the first time we stop for water or a restroom, he'll clue me in.
Before we leave, I do want to get any of Sleen's belongings that were left behind.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
That was a 15. Davina, you definitely picked up what Yoshka was saying, and no problems there. Y'all are still in the little thicket. Remember, you went in, and it was pitch black when you went in, except you had a torch that lit up a small area. You have Sleen's sleeping bag and her backpack, which had some stuff in it. We can figure out what the details of those are, but it had some, a couple of torches and maybe some rations, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, okay.
Any components?
Yep. I'm moving them over right now.
Well, but were her components taken with her?
No, I had all of my components in 2 separate pouches. Some of them were not with me, and some of them were. I just dumped the ones that I did not have with me. I only had the ones on me in my pouch that I could actually use. Otherwise, it would have been an unholy mess, and I wouldn't be able to cast anything because there would have been too much in there.
Sounds good.
So,
Diamondback,
Okay.
and as far as
Diamondback, do you want a minute to look through her things? Maybe there's something useful to us today.
No, that's all right.
I mean, we are not strong.
You see him. He's sort of fingering a packet of red bark olive tree wood, and he says to you, "Not right now. Let's just go."
Okay, I'll drop it.
all right.
Okay, so then Aaron.
We can't hear you, Aaron.
I'm picking up that Yoshika's trying to make us slow. Yoshika, are you hoping that like somehow along the way today he'll change his mind? Are you hoping that we'll arrive close to dusk? Why slow? Why don't we want to get there midday and then conclude that now is not the time to fight, or conclude that it is the time to fight and then have the rest of the day to book out before the dying of the light again? If it's gonna take us half day to get there,
So
we're gonna
let's
want to
see.
be away by the end of the day.
That probably was not clear in my glance. Does your character want to try to talk to my character about it,
She
or maybe give me a look about it?
she rolled pretty high,
be-
so she picked
it would
up
be-
what you wanted. If you want to tell her the basic gist, you can just tell her what she picked up from your glance.
It would be easy
Thanks.
enough for you guys to whisper. It would be I would take disadvantage on the perception check to hear what you are whispering about if you make stealth checks for it. If you let Diamondback stalk like a sulky teenager ahead a little ways.
Okay, we could do that, and then I'll just be like, that will be our death. We need to find a different path. Sometimes other things, if he can think of other things, let's try to find a different path. Or maybe one of us, who knows?
You want to distract him from the mission. Try to get him
Yeah.
to just be like willing to go do something else.
Yeah.
I think that's a big ask. We might want instead to try and sabotage the mission. Get there, either convince him in the moment that we don't have what it takes, or like, I don't know, screw with his perceptions so he can't tell, like the halfling that comes out doesn't look like his guy, or
If we
seems pretty single-minded.
if we walk for a little ways and a little time goes by and you maybe chat a little bit with Diamondback, I would be happy, Mr. DM, for them to make another insight check to learn more about his internal state.
Sure. So
For the sake of storytelling.
Yeah. Why don't we have you guys have agreed? You don't need to decide in your whispering while you're all in a little bunch under the thicket whether it's realistic or not. It'll evolve as you go. Why don't we have you guys emerge from the thicket that you're in and get started on your plan to go look at the town, at least let him see the place, and we'll figure it out as we go. I'm just going to narrate your egress from the thicket here, but it's all of that happened pretty quickly. It's about 6:15-ish. You have a small smoldering fire that Yoshika maintained through the night. It's not, anything really big. If you have rations, it would be the time to eat them. So if you do, take them out of your inventory, one each. Otherwise, you'll be hungry and get fatigued in the day.
Okay.
Mr. DM,
Yeah.
could I request that? Well, interesting. I guess I can't say anything. I'm dead. I'll talk
You're
to you
dead.
about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
You emerge from the thicket, and to your surprise, you see about maybe 10, 15 feet up the nearby trees these, let's say, silk-wrapped sacks for quite a radius that are, you can't necessarily tell what's in them. Some of the things you can tell are bigger than others. It looks as though you are camped in the vicinity of. It's not like right under, because it's, they're spread out on the nearby trees. But you just happen to, in the night, not know that you were camped where there were these spiders. But you can see where they have taken various animals up into the trees, not very high, 15, 20 feet, and actually also way up above that. But you can see some of the lower levels. And there are these little sacks with some kind of animal, you're guessing, in them that have been fed upon by the spiders. A couple of them, you can't tell what's in any of them necessarily, but there are a couple where you can see that are larger, and they seem to have, a distinct shape. There's one in particular on a tree nearby that looks sort of horse-ish. It's like a big creature that got wrapped up in this silk. You see a couple more that are similar to that, have different shapes that you roughly recognize. One of the things that you are aware of, maybe, actually, you know what? All of you roll me, please. The three of you roll me a, let's do history check.
Woo! 18 plus 4 is 22. I'm a wizard.
I got a 3.
Okay.
16.
So Diamondback knows this very clearly, and that fits with his wizardly ways. Yoshka, I think you've heard of this because, you've wandered around and encountered. This is new to Davina. But you know that giant spiders in the wild, when they do this, if they happened to grab animals that had components in them, they're still harvestable and usable. So one of the things you could do, if you wanted, was climb a little bit up the trees. It wouldn't be very hard at all. And, for example, cut down the horse-ish looking thing, and then you would cut open the Diamondback. You know this. You would use your dagger or something, cut open the sack. There would be a desiccated animal inside, and you could try to get some components out. I'll leave it to you to decide if that's what you do, but you would know that you definitely know that you could do that here.
I say to them, remember this place. It's a excellent source of magical components.
Yes.
Perhaps on our way back, we might revisit this location during the day, of course. And possibly also to give Sleen something approaching a decent burial. This is no kind of graveyard. But we have more pressing business. Let's go. I can't hear you, Aaron.
Let's armor up. We are here now. We don't know that we'll be able to come back this way. And we don't know what threats will hit us on our way back. But we are here now. Let's bury our friend. Let's take whatever components we can that can help with our survival.
Yes, I agree.
Have you ever trained a dog?
No.
When the dog does something bad, you want to teach it not to. Do you wait all day to punish it? And he continues to the south.
You don't want to teach him, do you? You want to take his life? It's not the same.
So y'all are walking. He's walking away from you. Are you walking with him to talk to him?
I'm going to turn to Davina and say, do you have a knife? Let's stop and look.
I'm sure I have a knife.
Okay. So I'm going to let you guys, the obvious thing, the lowest, easiest thing is the horse-ish looking creature. Would you like to cut it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to ask her for a knife and offer to climb up there for her.
Okay. So y'all do that. Go ahead and roll me an athletics check. It's a pretty easy one, Yoshka.
Davina, do you want to give it to me or?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's a dagger.
Okay. Okay. Rolled a 12. and it's athletics, so that'd be 14.
Okay, you're totally fine. You get up there, you basically it's all wrapped up in a web, and it's got like one single point where it's been hung from a branch, basically a lowish branch because it's a brutal, heavy horse thing. And you basically cut that. It falls to the ground with a sort of thud/clatter. And you go down, and you're going to open up the sack that it's in. It's a pretty straightforward way to do it. Yoshka, you've never done it before. Diamondback definitely knows very much about it. But what you get is what you find there. Sorry, give me one sec. I have to enter this in. Give me just a sec.
So while it's landing on the ground, we've still got Diamondback skulking away. I'm freaked out to be hanging out in the home of the predator that ate our friend. I want to try and drag this thing at least like 20 feet down the path around a tree or something.
You don't
So I'm
see
going to
any.
holler out to Diamondback and see if he'll come back just to help us drag the horse and not run away from us.
Diamondback,
We need you. Come back. Come.
I think you should make a persuasion check. That's contested against a charisma roll that Diamondback just made to see how stubborn he is. If that's okay.
Yes,
Scored a 1.
A critical failure. Okay, so he's not going to turn back. He is as resolute as ever, maybe more. I'm going to so you guys get this horse-ish looking thing down from there. You cut it open and you get some components out. You actually are able to get from the horse.
Oh, look at that. Yes, that's very good. Oh, my father found this once. Oh, I have not seen one for 10 years. I'm saying these with a raised voice to try to pique Diamondback's interest.
Yeah.
We must be harvesting like the wind.
Okay, yeah, I guess make another persuasion check.
As he's walking away in a huff. Yoshka, make that persuasion.
Let's see. 12 plus 6, so 18.
Whoa.
For these components.
Diamondback hears components, magical components in and he his back is still to you, but he's stopped walking.
So let me tell you what we're finding in here. You ready? Wow. I'm going to give you this one. I pulled up a couple of different horses. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
You found a white-pawed draft horse. Okay. You got from it
Do you want to copy it into the shared? Oh, great.
yeah, you can
I'm
just
trying to type, but I don't know what I'm doing.
you can just type in this. It's a white-pawed draft horse.
Oh, guys, I think you just deleted what I was working with.
Just Control Z and get it back that way.
Sure. Oh. I was getting the red-eyed pig teeth to the frost-eyed jackal teeth. The black-necked horse, that's not the new thing.
No, that's
Here.
the old thing.
I'm going to insert a bunch of...
But Celine had that, so I think that would be. Am I correct? That's something you would have gotten from her bag.
Yeah, I'm inserting some empty spaces for you guys to work with.
Okay, you ready?
Stick your stuff in there.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Probably.
So you found, as I said, a Oops, that's the wrong one. Where is it? Dang it, I lost it. There it is. A white-pawed draft horse. You found 3 teeth from that white-pawed draft horse. And... Sorry. And 4 bits of brain. And
This is not clean work.
What's that?
This is not clean work.
No, that's all you found. However, Yoshka, I want you to roll me. You have seen this kind of white paw draft horse before. The kind of components from it. It actually is a little bit famous. I would like for you to roll me an Arcana check, and I'm going to tell you if you know any of the stuff on it. The tooth was a little bit famous.
Okay. I rolled an 18. Oh,
Wow.
but I have plus
Okay.
0.
You
Arcana.
might be persuasive with this thing, with this bit. You know 3 of the spells on this, and you know that this particular white paw draft horse has actually a number of spells on it, but you know 3 of them. It has Firebolt, which is a level 0 evocation spell. Does a little bit of damage. It has Compulsion, which is a level 4 bard enchantment. And this is actually why you know it, although you've never actually seen it successfully used. It has Wish.
Whoa.
Which is
What's that?
the highest level and power of spell possible. If you were able to successfully cast this spell, you get to make a wish. And it happens. This is a wizard level spell par excellence, and it is insanity to find. It is super rare.
Okay.
What level is it?
It's a
that's
level
what I'm
9
gonna-
spell.
Right, so you need to find 10 components that have wish on them.
Yeah. However, none of you will have heard of this, but none of you have ever seen a component that has this on it, although you've never left your towns either. This is quite valuable.
Is this from
You
the
don't-
teeth or the brains?
That's from the teeth.
Okay.
You don't have
It also
to
has other
find-
spells on it.
You don't have to find 9 other pieces, just 9 other people, man.
Well, if my Arcana knows about the wish especially, that's what I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna hold up the teeth and be like, well, first of all, remind me, where's Diamondback? What's he doing?
He's just walking south. He has stopped walking because Davina was talking about components and how they're super awesome.
Well, Yoshka.
Sorry, Yoshka.
It was
did.
Yoshka's voice that persuaded me to stop.
That's right. And so he has stopped walking, and he's pretty confident that he's still going to the village. He's just not actually going to the village right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll hold up. I'll say, Diamondback, look, these teeth. When I was a boy, my father found one of them. I think I have heard these teeth, with enough teeth, you can make a wish.
And Diamondback, you'll understand what that means.
That's very rare and valuable.
I think these are for you. Perhaps the gods mean to comfort you. And
What gods?
I'll hand him the teeth.
Are you going to try to use that to persuade him to stay and get more components, or to go on a different mission?
Yeah, to try to. I'm gonna move the conversation on to be like, come, let's cut one more down, then we can continue.
This was indeed a rare find. I'm interested to know what might what other treasures might be up in these trees.
All right, you're going to
And
do
perhaps it wouldn't be so bad to bury Sleen. So Diamondback looks to see if there are any that are humanoid.
Okay, roll me a perception check.
That's going to be 18 plus 2 is 20.
Yeah, you actually find two different humanoids, but one of them looks much more recent than the other and is likely to be Sleen. Probably in the neighborhood of about 40. She's about 40 feet up in the air, hanging from a branch like many of these others. You could definitely get to her with an athletics or acrobatics check. You would cut her and she would, the corpse would fall. You're not going to be able to lower her gently, but if you want to, you can.
Yeah, I do that. I'll make the acrobatics check.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'll say, "You check that one. I'll check the other."
Oh, ouch. Yeah, so that's a 1 plus 3 is 4 on that acrobatics check.
Okay. You start climbing the tree kind of in a huff. I mean, you're brooding already. You've got that.
I think they see tears as I start climbing.
Absolutely. You get up actually all the way to the not all the way. No, you get up about actually, you know what? I said 40 feet, so let's see how far you get. Okay, you get 20 feet up approximately. The tree up the trunk, and you're climbing, and you slip and fall. Does anybody know the rule for how to calculate fall
1d6
damage?
per 10 feet.
Okay, 1d6 per 10 feet. Is that what you said?
Yep, that you fall. Yep.
All right, roll it for me. 20 feet.
2d6s. That's a 4 and a 2.
6 damage.
So I take 6 damage.
Yeah.
Can I point out one thing though?
Sure.
If there are branches, it's up to you. You tell us. But if there are branches, you can make him make a check to try to catch a branch. Typically, if there's anything in the way, that's kind of standard practice to.
Yeah. I was actually
But
visualizing
he
this
could
as
just be up in the canopy and there's nothing below him. So cinematographically, that's totally up to you. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, at 20 feet on these big old trees, and there's nothing. There are no low branches. These guys are hanging from the branches where the spiders have hung them.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. You took the what did you say? 6 damage.
6 damage.
6 damage.
So
okay. If you're resolute, you can go back for it again.
He hits the floor and he's just. I think he lands and rolls a little bit and then sort of flops over onto his back. And you see him just lying there on the forest floor, crying.
There's a snake. There's a snake that comes up to him and just kind of shakes its little head at him, and then just kind of
Shaming him?
No. Just being like, "It's okay, man. It's okay. It's okay."
Belvari.
Maybe he's nodding. He's not shaking. He's nodding his head. He just kind of nods his head at you, and then he turns and he slithers off.
Yes.
I did not get a chance to talk with you about this before, but are you okay if I bring you in right now?
Sure.
Great.
I'll start paying attention.
Even better. So as y'all are here dealing with this horse corpse that you're kind of wrapping up, getting the brains and stuff out of.
Horse corpse.
That's right.
My metal
Horse
band.
corpse and 7 years ago.
All right, kids, gather around. Time to play horse corpse.
Sorry.
Belvari. Sorry, say it again, Yoshka.
Aaron or Davina, do you want the brains? By the way.
I'm happy for them to be in our group thing. I have no intention to leave anytime soon, and if I do, we can negotiate then.
Using Sleen's backpack, by the way, as a group pouch makes good sense. I mean, it's up to y'all.
It's
But
already got a lot in it.
Belvari,
Yes.
you are wandering in this same forest. Y'all are near-ish a town. I mean, from the south, there's that town. You have been in kind of a bad way. You also are all on your own. You hear a bit of let's say, some strange sounds, but it's people chattering, and they don't seem to be angry. They don't seem to be fighting. You have crept up from a distance. You're probably about 45, 50 feet away and watching them. Here's what you have seen. You've been watching them for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. One of them, this shirtless, kind of, I'll say scrawny, but not like unhealthily scrawny, guy who's got some tattoos. He's a little bit emo. Basically, he is brooding on the outskirts of this group, facing away from them with his head down, but not just down, but kind of forcefully down. And he's got his hands clenched at his side, the way you would imagine Arthur might clench his fists when something goes wrong. Wow! And
just down,
forcefully
down.
And he's trying really hard. This shirtless guy you see with pants and nothing else, and maybe some shoes. He's trying really hard. What he's trying, no one knows. Maybe not even him. But you can feel the pressure. Behind him, by maybe 20, 30 feet, you see a kind of large, stocky, seemingly good-natured, bearded guy, right, Yoshka? He's wearing furs and, he's overdressed for the occasion. But hey, it's the jungle. If you're going to go out into the jungle, clash. But he is dressed up, and he seems to be calling out to this other young man, and they're having this sort of stilted conversation. You also see a young woman out there helping the sort of stocky guy. You see them. They've cut down one of these spider sacks that you see in the trees, have opened it up, and are talking about the magic in its components. The conversation seems generally friendly. They are not aggressive to each other. They seem to be getting along okay, although they don't seem to be like great friends or anything. You've now been watching them for 20 minutes. You've seen the skinny, shirtless dude climb up a tree. He's not very good at it, and falls down about 20 feet, scraping himself and kind of, let's say it this way. The tree that he has climbed decides to do a pro wrestling backbreaker on him against one of its roots. He just kind of is laying there, writhing, and not writhing, but, kind of wiggling around. And you can tell that while the fall from the tree hurt him, something else hurt him more.
He's lying still. He's lying still and just
that's right.
Crying and maybe sobbing a little bit. You can see his chest rising and falling.
If he's on the ground under where Sleen is suspended, though, Mr. DM, there's a very good chance that there's a particular object that I had on me that fell to the ground really close to where he is. Could he, I don't know, would that be a passive perception thing, or can he make a perception check, or how would that work to see whether or not he found the thing that I dropped?
I'll tell you in a second. You can go ahead and make a passive perception check, Matt. Tell me what the result is, but we're not going to play it out for a minute.
Means you don't actually make it.
Okay.
My passive perception is 12.
12, okay.
Okay.
So, Belvari, you've been watching this from the outskirts for 10, 15, 20 minutes. They have not seemed to see you, and you have been hiding, or at least obscuring yourself. They seem like maybe being with them is better than being on your own. How do you...
I doubt it.
How do you introduce yourself to this party?
I would just continue to watch. I would like to look and see if I see any spiders.
Okay. You do not see any spiders, and roll me a history check. Actually, I'm sorry. Roll me a nature check, Belvari.
Okay. Nature. There it is.
Do it, Dwight. Be the first player to split the party before ever even meeting.
15.
A 15. Okay, so you do know that typically speaking, these spiders that you have found here are nocturnal.
Gotcha.
So you're not in a big risk of the spiders at this time. You're
Gotcha.
actually in a very small risk.
I would also look for any other. I would be vigilant and not introduce myself to this group of people.
Okay, sounds good. We'll let that continue for a minute. Matt, did you roll your passive perception? You said it was a 15 or 12. I'm sorry.
You don't roll dice for passive
Right.
checks. It's
But you said
12.
it was 12. Is that right? 12.
Yes, 12.
Okay.
Yep.
Josh, what?
I'll tell you, it's a bone white dagger, right? It would be about maybe a foot long, about an inch and a half at most, at the thickest at the base, with a nice long straight taper and a bit of a kind of puncturing edge chiseled to it.
Would he recognize it as yours, or would it just look like a random piece of bone?
Probably. It was very prominently worn on her hip belt, but if it was there and in the course of being jostled and eaten and stuff, there's a pretty good chance it would have just fallen out because it was in just kind of a loose little sling on her hip.
Diamondback, you're laying on your back under this tree looking up. You can see where you're very confident Celine has been wrapped up in this little almost cocoon-like silk bag. And as you're just laying there, torn up a bit, you turn your head to the side, and you do happen to notice, happen to notice, that about 10, 12 feet from you, you see Celine's dagger that fell. It is actually on the ground, but it has stuck point first into the root of the tree. Doing.
Yeah, so what you'll see is Diamondback sort of gets up onto his elbows and knees, and he doesn't stand up, but he sort of crawls in a painful sort of way towards the dagger, and then he pulls it out of the root, and as it comes unstuck, he bumps himself in the chest with it and sort of falls back and rolls over onto the ground with the dagger sort of clutched to his chest. And he says, Yoshka.
What is it? I'm in the middle of climbing a tree. For that other body that looked like a person.
Yoshka, it's too hard. I can't. Can you help me bury her?
Yes.
Will you help me?
Yes, of course. We are friends.
Yoshka, show me your... make me an athletics check. No, I'm sorry, acrobatics check.
15 plus...
You made it.
Okay.
You...
7.
Okay.
I love that.
You motion Diamondback to get out of the way because he's pretty much right below where Celine, or where this sack, I guess I should say, this silk sack would land. You cut her down, she falls, hits the ground, and you are able to successfully, kind of shimmy your way back down. No, not while you're up there. No. So you go on down, and which one of you is going to open the sack?
Diamondback is sort of half laying, half sitting against the root of the tree with Celine's dagger held close, and he's just sort of crying and moaning a little bit. He's not helping at all.
Okay.
And I guess I still have Davina's knife, so I'm just going to assume that I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
You open it up, and you do, in fact, find Celine. She is drained of her fluids, sort of looking kind of mummified. And that's all. You basically decide that you need to, figure out what to do with her now. You want to dig a hole and bury her?
Well, what do you think we should do? I say to Diamondback.
We should.
My people need burial. What about your people?
We should bury her.
Very good. Okay, and then I'm gonna, I suppose, look around for a place with soft ground. Do we have a shovel?
No, you don't.
I don't.
Maybe a rock? A big... Are there, like, flat-ish rocks around?
Yeah, a normal thing to do would be to do a mound that you could put up rocks on top of her.
So, Robert, is there any water anywhere nearby?
Not like streams that they have seen.
Okay, all right. So I was gonna say, if there is a boa constrictor anywhere nearby, I'm pretty sure Sleen, as a druid, will practically summon this thing to her body. But that's just me. I'm just
sure.
She's a druid, so
okay, fair enough. Yoshka and Diamondback and Davina, are you helping out? Yeah.
No,
you're muted.
You're muted, Aaron.
I'm finding rocks around the forest as we speak.
Okay.
Lugging them back toward the base of the tree.
Sounds great. Y'all spend about an hour. You put a nice pile of rocks that would be very difficult for any animal to get under and take apart, and some sort of monument, some sort of piece of wood with an inscription, if you like, or anything like that. Or maybe not actually. Well, you could actually. Diamondback would know how to write her name if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do that. An hour.
While we're piling up the rocks, I'm going to make up a song.
Okay.
She was still a newfound friend until she died. She was still a newfound friend until she died. She was just a spunky lady setting fire to the village. She was just a loud and lovely lady till she died.
Sleen would have been delighted to have heard that at her funeral.
So you finish that. It is now in the neighborhood of, let's see, 6, 7, 8. Y'all have spent about 2 hours doing this whole exchange. And I will let you have also gotten one more creature down from the trees. If you want to have done that, is that good?
Yeah.
This is basically while Diamondback was originally trying to do it. I'm going to tell you what you have from this, and you don't know what's on it, but you found a green-footed cougar in one of the larger sacks that you cut down.
Aaron, you're muted.
What happened to our list of shared component pouch things?
Oh, I need to put more on there.
So I put the two rows for the white pod draft horse. I assume this is all getting excised from the published thing.
Sure.
When Yoshka handed me the teeth, I took them.
He said, "I think these are for you."
Okay.
They're in my document now.
And there's 2 bits of brain.
The whole rest of the thing is gone. The whole rest of
Right. So the rest of what was on there was what was there from Sleen's pouch that got left behind on the ground that I took. So I transferred that stuff over and added it to what I currently have.
Okay.
Okay.
We should title these things like I'll put up here Sleen's.
Just put some up.
Okay, here's what you got from the cougar. It was a green-footed cougar. You got 2 usable bones and 1 gland.
So gross. I think there's a gland in there. Cut deeper.
Not just a gland, but a magical gland. You can sort of tell. Cool. Okay. And I'm actually going to have you do one other quick thing. Is all of you have your passive perception, which I will look at. Diamondbacks is a 12. Yoshka's is a 10. Let me look here.
Mine's 12, but I'm being actively vigilant. I don't know if that means anything.
I knew that about you.
Be a total creep.
Davina, what is your passive perception?
Go through the whole campaign.
What's your passive perception, Davina?
Pardon?
What's your passive perception?
12.
Okay. Let me see. That's for Diamondback. And that is for Yoshka. And that's for Davina. Davina, you actually see someone skulking around cautiously about maybe 35, 40 feet away behind a tree. You noticed the person there. We'll get a description of that when we come back from in the next episode. But basically, you seeing that person as y'all are burying Sleen, do you, or I guess as you're covering Sleen, do you say anything to either Yoshko or Diamondback? The person you see does not seem threatening to you, but you do see that person watching you. And do you just immediately want to address them? Do you want to play it cool? What do you want to do? Just tell me first without actually narrating. Like just the category, because we're going to narrate in the next episode.
I tell Yoshka.
Okay, you're going to tell Yoshka. Sounds good. So this is a good place for us to stop for our 10-minute break. We will be back at about 9:15 for those of you who are watching. That is where we'll end this episode. Thank you for listening. You can get more details about the world and the story we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. In this episode, our three young people who are out in the woods having their own sort of private twilight emerged from the night,
there's vampires?
Sleen having died, and have figured out how to bury Sleen and also how to do a little bit of, let's call it letting, like bloodletting. They've let some of Diamondback's emotions. So we'll pick up next time. Thank you very much. We'll be back for those of you watching on the stream in about 8 or 10 minutes.
Dwight's just having a good time watching. Dwight's good over here in the bushes.
Oh man, Matt, so fun.
we are back in. Let me pull up my patter boilerplate. Here it is.
Got audio.
This is The Dying of the Light, Season 3 of the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the Dungeons & Dragons game system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world that we've been developing together for a while. You can find out more about the collective as well as the stories we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. We're back with episode 8. Let's find out who's in this episode. We'll do a really quick introduction to everybody. I'm Sir Robert Burbage, father and entrepreneur, and I'm host of this season's story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in this drama. We will start this time with Aaron, and if you just introduce yourself and then pass it to the next person, we'll get all the way back up to Matt and be ready to go. Aaron?
Aaron Joy. I'm playing Davina, a would-be architect, human druid level 1. Passing to Belvari.
Hello, I'm Belvari, and I am mysterious.
Genetically.
My name's Jared,
And
and I'm. Oh, are you done?
no, go ahead.
I'm playing Yoshka, who's a wayfaring human bard from the chilly north. Josh?
And I would introduce myself if I had a character to play, but I'm dead. So, if I wanted to talk, I should have a character.
It says Gulb next to your name.
And Matt?
Don't be fooled.
My name is Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew, Talamini.com. I'm playing Diamondback, a shirtless wizard who just fell out of a tree.
So let's get started. Previously, in episode 7, we had Diamondback fall out of a tree. Also, the party came to grips with losing their friend, their acquaintance to some and friend to some, Sleen. They have just finished cutting her down from a tree after her sort of desiccated corpse was hanging where a spider had left it that had eaten her during the night. They cut her down and buried her under a pile of rocks. During this endeavor, Davina, played by Aaron Joy, Davina was doing nothing in particular, just gathering some rocks, and spied out of the corner of her eye a character, a young man lurking a little ways off. She made nothing of it that he could tell conspicuously, but when she gets back after a few minutes have passed, they're about halfway through burying Sleen. They've got maybe another 20 minutes left to go of it. And she gets back and she decides that she's going to mention this to Yoshka. Davina?
Yeah, Yoshka, we're not alone. Oh, don't look. Behind me, behind my left shoulder, there's somebody in between that bush and that tree. Do you see?
Okay.
They've been there for a little bit. I've been noticing them for 10 minutes or so. They're not really doing anything. They're just spying on us.
You can't tell what he wants? Okay. Well,
Let's not tell Diamondback.
okay. Maybe he'll introduce himself.
So the
And we're-
Alert, though, nothing here is really safe. I don't trust anyone who's skulking around and spying on us. So let's keep alert for him.
Okay.
So you guys continue burying Sleen over the next 15, 20 minutes. You still see whenever you do happen to glance over inconspicuously, you still see the character most of the time that you glance. Sometimes you can't quite pick him out. And he does occasionally seem to be looking warily up into the trees and, glancing around to find if there is anyone else around. You finish burying Sleen. Your choices are the following. This is me speaking as DM, kind of third-person narrative for you guys, for the players to make decisions. Your choices are to introduce yourself to this.
You know what I think I'm going to do?
Tell me.
As we're gathering stones, I'm going to head over in his general direction and then very casually look over to him and say, "Will you help us with the rocks? We just lost a friend."
Belvari backs away into the woods.
Like Homer Simpson.
How far back, Belvari?
Oh, 3 or 4 layers of trees back.
Okay, 15, 20 feet.
Sure, yeah.
Yoshka obviously has seen you, and he sees you walk away warily from him. Obviously, he's just talked to you and watching you. Yoshka, what do you do?
Belvari would also like to signal to his dog to loop around about 60 feet to the right and bark once.
Okay. Roll me an animal handling check.
Okay. Ooh.
With a
It's
low.
only a 10.
Yeah, that'll work. The dog runs some distance around to the left, which in this case would be the north, and kind of northeast, and makes a single dog bark.
And then if people look away, I would like to hide.
Yoshka, would you hear a dog bark about 60 feet away. This guy that you were watching just signaled something, and you didn't hear anything, but then you hear a dog a few minutes later bark over there. Do you look away, or do you keep looking at Belvari?
I wasn't really ever looking intently at him. I just glanced lightly and then went about when he didn't. So when I hear the dog bark, I definitely look over and then glance at him briefly to see if I still see him.
Belvari, roll me a stealth check.
A 6. Belvari hides in a bramble bush and lets out a yelp.
Sounds about right.
Yoshka. I'm gonna say there's a good bush over there. We spent the night in it. Well, don't go there at night. And then I'm gonna keep doing the rocks.
Okay. Now, in order to get to him towards where he was so that you could talk to him, you walked about 30 feet away. That, it's a reasonable distance to get rocks. And you come back and you spent a little longer than maybe you should have, but whatever, you found a rock. He backed away another 15, 20 feet. So right now he's about 45 feet from where y'all are burying Sleen. Not a big deal. Doesn't seem to be moving. Why don't we finish up burying Sleen? You can get more components from the trees. If you do that, I have them already pre-prepared, and we can go quickly through that. You can head back towards Gorota, the town that you left, or you could go off and do random other stuff, try to find your way, or you can go and try to see more about this solitary young man. Yoshka, you will have now seen that he is very young, and you will have gleaned that he has a dog. Diamondback? Matt?
When we are finished piling up the rocks, Diamondback takes maybe 3 steps away from the cairn and then stops. And if anybody's paying attention, you'll hear him say, "Oh, right." And then he goes back and he stands over the cairn and he fishes around in his component pouch, and he pulls out 6 pieces of wood from a red bark olive tree, and he's going to begin doing the process of figuring out what magical properties it may or may not have.
Okay.
Which takes, I guess we've said before, an hour. Or how long does it take to do just one?
Give me 1 second here. Yeah, an hour to figure out a piece of material.
Yeah, so he starts doing it like chewing on a corner of a piece and like thinking about it and pressing it up against his forehead and tweezering at it and doing whatever. He's got like a pentacle or something he's dangling over it. That's what you guys see. You see him start to like contemplate this piece of bark.
And it's
From
a
his
red
component
barked
pouch.
olive tree.
It's a red bark olive tree.
Okay.
Wood
what do y'all
from
do?
a red bark olive tree.
Yoshka, Davina?
Well, when I see that, I'll look and be like to Davina, like glad to see him doing something else, and then say, "Well, I'm hungry. How about you?"
I'm not hungry, but I don't want to spend all day here because we can't sleep here tonight.
Yes, yes. Where can we sleep? So maybe while
And it's only about
with
8 a.m. Y'all have spent 2 hours doing this.
Oh wow, what a full day.
I'm going to maybe motion to step a little bit away from Matthew Diamondback, so we can consort without being heard, and then say, "That is just what I was thinking. We need he he maybe will die today, and I want him as a friend. If we can, three of us survive the night, this is a good day."
So I'm thinking that the first ring outside of any city is going to be slightly safer than farther into the woods. We'll have the protection of a nearby city without being um, in the city. I don't care what city, but the only one I know of is Garada. Do you think
Okay.
we could aim to get the hike this afternoon and get back to that first layer of trees, second layer of trees in time for nightfall?
So what you will know,
Dusk?
one of the things you will know geographically is that going upstream, which you can say anywhere because all of the rivers converge, or at least they go towards the same general direction. Going upstream takes you away from dangerous animals. Going downstream takes you towards more dangerous animals. And the opposite is true of the Iron Bell, right? In general. However, Iron Bell is a less present threat than just a wild animal. The town of Gorota is basically downstream from you. So going and camping in the woods closer to that town, one, the town is significantly less friendly to you. It's significantly unfriendly to you. And two, the woods there are a little bit more unfriendly, aside from them being near a town, but, generally speaking. And going more northeastward or northward is going to take you, actually more northeastward is going to take you more in the quote upstream direction, which is a little safer with respect to animals. That's something you would already have a background knowledge of.
Right.
Okay.
Yoshka, do you think there's any chance we could hike upstream without Diamondback realizing we're not hiking downstream toward the city? Toward Garada?
Maybe we can say we take a roundabout to avoid roads.
Maybe. I mean,
What I know from the north, there is a seam. We have the land is made of two cloths. The cloth of the Iron Bell and the cloth of the beasts. And where the Iron Bell ends, the beasts begin, maybe with a little overlap. And my family, we have found the best places on that hem in between. Not best, the least worst. I want to get north and I think introduce you to my family. If we can take a roundabout on this hem, not go to the Iron Bell, but find the hem and take the long way round, that is my big hope. But that is not all today. I think today, oh, how will he not die? We must continue to find other things for him. I want to see if he can forget. Maybe this boy. What do you know him at all?
Not at all. I've never seen anyone like him.
Hmm.
I'm a city girl. I don't know any wanderers. You know, city.
So, a good thing that y'all could do. Well, first of all, you can figure out whether Belvari is going to be, whether you're going to approach him anymore or not. But a good thing that y'all could do is start making distance from this, if you can, from Garoda, which is not friendly to you. A reasonable thing to do would be to head in some direction that you think is a good direction and spend a few hours looking for the best possible shelter for the night. So when it gets towards afternoon, spend a couple of hours trying to find anything. Also, as you're going along, you could look for signs of any other town. There are lots of little towns. You may or may not find one on a given day, but it's not like there's one town and then 400 miles later you might come across another. For some value of town, there are towns around. And other, you just found a random wanderer.
Well, I'm not sure we could retrace our steps perfectly back to the city, even if we wanted to. So we can try.
Maybe you. Yes, I like this. You can lead us back towards maybe.
What we think is the Garada direction. We'll see.
Very good. Very good. Okay, that sounds like a good plan. And this boy, I don't think he is trouble. I think he is lost. I think he is maybe like us.
While this conversation is going on, Belvari would like to inch closer, sneakily.
I think we let him
And
fall. And
he rolled another 6, so
So we have
It
a sinking
goes that
suspicion
well.
he is. Okay. Just as we had hoped. We will not be overbearing, but we will be
he's
happy for him to
crawling
be following us.
directly through the brambles that
Nice.
lead towards you when there's a nice soft clover patch to the right. It's very tall and you can sneak through. He's not using that. He's using the brambles.
All right, Yashka,
His
I think we
dog
need
is
to...
going along the clover path.
Maximum effort.
I think we're going to need to tell Diamondback soon, because if Diamondback sees a who knows what skulking, which he's about to because it's noisy, I don't know what we can expect from Diamondback right now. He's a loose cannon.
I can tell him.
Thanks.
Do you,
And you want his gun and his badge on your office and on your desk immediately.
Okay.
Meanwhile, so I'm going to look over and see if Diamondback is intently doing his studies still.
Unless it's been an hour, then yeah.
It's only
And
been a
then-
few minutes. He's still working. I mean, a little while. He's still working on it.
Well, if he looks pretty preoccupied, I'm gonna look around and for food options. Like
I ate one ration already today in the morning.
Me too, but it can't hurt to stock up if we have an idle hour.
Okay, so I left my bag in the village, in the place that I was staying, so I just don't have stuff.
There is a bunch of only partially cured horse meat that looks really delicious and looks good, but it's not going to be good 2 days from now.
You sold it.
I had a little bit left. I mean, I sold the majority of it.
Okay.
But she still had more. I mean, that was
Sure.
a whole horse that
Sure.
we
Does
butchered.
Yoshika say anything about this, or does he just start?
Well, if I don't already know about what's in the bag, which I maybe I could say, maybe I could briefly interrupt Diamondback and say, do we have any of the horse meat in that bag?
You just get there's just a palm in up at, like,
Okay.
Busy.
don't bother me. I'm
Okay.
busy.
This is
Okay.
not a good place to find any kind of animals or anything. The spiders eat stuff. You're going to want to move. You're going to want to go somewhere. Also, I don't know if you would know this or not, but you don't have a spare hour. Night will come. You should move.
Well, it's 8 a.m.
It is 8 a.m. But if you spend if you only spend 1 hour looking for something and you find another thicket, you're going to
Okay.
want to spend another hour looking and another hour.
I'm just gonna take a look in. Well, depending on where Celine's bag is, if it's not like in Diamondback's lab, I'm just gonna go open it and like look around to see if there's any food in there.
Yeah, Diamondback took Sleen's components, but not Sleen's like rations and pack and lighter and all that stuff.
You find one ration of horse meat, but that's all. That's usable.
Okay, it's raw. Do I think it would be okay to eat just like that, or I think I should cook it?
You would probably want to cook it. It's a couple of day old horse meat, not refrigerated.
Okay. I will. Davina, can we make a quick fire?
Yeah, it looks like we have an hour, 45 minutes left, maybe.
So
Yeah.
you make a fire, you cook the horse meat, you don't interact too much with Belvari, and he loudly sneaks his way towards you. The roll he made for that was well under your passive perception, so you're all aware of him. But he seems to be doing his own thing and being cautious. You make your fire, you cook the meat, and do you try to eat it immediately?
Well, I'm gonna try to cook. If there are two meals,
There's one ration.
there's one ration. I'll cook it and then cut it in half, and then eat half of it, and then like leave half of it on the rock when we're gonna go, and then motion to Davina like it's for Belvari, and then once Diamondback is ready, say okay, let's go.
All right. You take half the
That's
ration.
an animal handling check, basically.
Yeah. You take half the ration. It doesn't do you much good because it's half a ration. But, whatever. It's there. And you left a nice peace offering for Belvari. It's a little gamey. And you conspicuously ready yourselves to go I'm guessing so that Belvari can hear you? Yeah. And maybe even indicate, kind of hint that the other bit is for him. It's still safe on the rock that you're cooking it on, whatever. Belvari, what do you do as you see them readying to leave and conspicuously leaving some of the food that you can tell is for you?
Belvari would just stay where he is. He doesn't
Okay.
trust that food.
So which way do you guys head?
When Diamondback finishes contemplating the wood of the red bark olive tree, he expects to know whether it has any magical properties, and if so, what.
He does. I would like for Diamondback to roll me a... give me 1 second. I would like for Diamondback to roll me a con. Let's call it save, I guess. Whatever you call it when you roll you against your con.
Okay. A Constitution saving throw is different from just a Constitution check.
Oh, a Constitution check then.
Okay. Yeah. So Constitution check. That's going to be 6 + 2 is 8.
Okay. It was on a DC 10. You did not find anything out about it. You were trying your hardest to pay attention to it, but were distracted by your inner turmoil.
Okay. Not a haven't we made arcana checks on this before? It's fine. If the
This
same
wasn't-
score is Constitution, but
This wasn't to see if you could tell what it was. This was to see if you were
Oh.
getting distracted by your inner turmoil.
fair enough.
know.
So what you see is Diamondback. Do I know that I failed at it, or do I think it just has nothing?
No, you were pretty sure that you just weren't doing it right. You kept getting distracted. You were not doing it.
You failed your guts check, kid.
You might angrily pull it out and spit a little bit of it that you were chewing onto the ground or something like that.
Yeah. You see him shake his head and just put it away, and then he turns and walks a little ways toward Yoshka and stands there sort of with his arms folded, his pack on his back.
And Yoshka,
Does he say anything to Celine underneath her cairn before he walks away?
No.
Okay.
Yoshka, you seem to have a moment here where Davina and Diamondback are, without too much self-consciousness, seeming to follow where you're leading. So if you want to, this would be an opportune time to start walking in a direction that is not towards Garada, which would be like anywhere from north to like northeast would be a good direction for that.
Yeah, I would be going northeast.
Okay. So you kind of bundle everybody up. You kind of get your packs on, cinch them, whatever, and start walking as though it were the thing to do.
What do I roll to see whether Diamondback notices that we're not going the direction that he wants to go?
Let's do a good question. Since you bring it up, let's do a.
Hopefully, Diamondback is better than Matthew at knowing these things for his sake.
Matthew's pretty bad at this kind of thing, as Dwight knows from long personal experience.
Does Diamondback ever do like little kung fu things when he's moving around?
Oh, I hope
No.
so.
Does he
Okay,
move?
probably.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you're really intense about everything.
I would like for you to give me, Matt, a. I think the thing here might be a nature. No, well, no, not nature. It might be a.
Hey, Sir Robert, you might want to move your cursor. It's kind of.
Oh.
I think it's over. Yeah.
It's when I go to a different screen, it centers it over there. I think we might want to have
Survival?
you do we'll do survival. And Yoshka, I'd like for you to do a performance check.
Okay.
17.
20.
Okay. It's a good performance. I think maybe Diamondback is... I'll let you figure this out, Matt, but here's a suggestion. Diamondback is sort of a little aware of it, but is willing to deceive himself. You pick if that's a good interpretation of that.
I mean, what it is that he's just too defeated. He's
Okay.
failed at so many things today and yesterday. He just doesn't believe in himself.
Okay.
He's let down everything that he believed in and has no confidence.
We've all been there. All right. So let's...
We've
Why don't
all
you guys-
lost our girlfriends to sudden death in the middle of the night and had to just kind of soldier on the next morning.
That's right. Yoshka, tell me a direction you're going.
Girlfriend.
Okay, so which way is the? Tell me where the river's heading.
North to northeast is going to be away from the town and heading. Let me give me 1 second. I'll tell you specifically. I'm almost there.
River. We haven't crossed one. Sorry.
Yeah, if you go north, you're more or less not changing your upstream downstream direction. Right? If you start heading northeast, you're going to be getting to where the animals are over time going to get easier and easier, lighter and lighter, and the iron bell is going to get heavier and heavier. So northeast is going to take you to an easier way. North is going to keep about the balance you have between creatures of the forest and the iron bell.
Okay, I'm gonna go a little. Wait, so whichever one was a little closer to the iron bell.
Okay, we'll go northeast-ish. That sounds good. So let's go ahead and do a survival check. Belvari, are you going to follow them?
Yes, and I think that I've been rolling poor enough with stealth that I think that I'm doing a good job, but I don't know that.
Sounds good. What I'm going to have you do is each time that you follow them, every time I have them roll for survival, I want you to roll for stealth, and that is going to tell us their awareness of you as they go and whether or not they think whatever. Yoshka and...
Do I also roll survival?
No, you don't need to because you're following them, and if they're surviving, you're surviving, and if they're not, you're not because you're following them. Yoshka, are you going to try to make it easy for this random dude who's very stealthily following you to continue following you? When I say easy, I don't mean like super conspicuous that you see him, but like, are you going to try to evade him, or are you just going to let him follow you?
Just gonna let him follow.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do a...
I've got a +4 survival, so if one of us are rolling, probably ought to be me.
Yeah.
You have to take turns rolling. You can roll first, but you each got to go.
Probably my character as we're going would be like, I don't know, talking to you about navigating the wilds and trying to learn from you.
And
From me?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to learn from?
You
I
got a
never gave-
+4 survival. You read all the books. You can at least teach him the
Okay.
theory.
Okay.
or just good intuition. There were no books.
Touche.
Good point.
Yoshka, also Yoshka and Diamondback, one thing that you can do, if you want Davina to just take the lead in general, it's okay. She can roll the survival checks, and you can keep an eye out for components as you go. It doesn't cost anything extra to do that.
Okay.
Anyway, so go. Let's do it.
All right, I just rolled a survival and got an 8, including my +4.
Okay.
So I'm actually going to try to do the thing Davina's doing too. With that, if it's, I'm going to, within the first couple minutes, feel out if it's possible for me to like be sidebarring with her as she's doing it, so that we're both.
Can he help her?
That's what you were asking before, right? Okay. And ask her
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, give her advantage then on that one. You got
Okay.
advantage.
Roll it
Good.
again.
I'll roll again. Well, there we go. 2 8s.
You got an 8 and an 8?
Yes.
Is that a
Snake
4? Is that a 4
eyes.
that you rolled that was brought up to an 8 with your survival skill?
Snake,
Both
Yeah.
times.
Fair enough.
snake eyes.
Snake eights.
That's right.
Snake eyes.
Give me 1 second.
Call that an
Not
Ouroboros.
snake eyes.
Snake eyes.
No, that's
No.
an Ouroboros.
Snake eyes.
I'm trying to
The
find
dice
how to-
don't lice.
There is a way to do this, but how do I do it? Hold on. Sorry. Give me a minute.
We just hurt Matthew.
The dice slice got him.
Okay.
Oh man.
You
Oh, my
have
goodness.
an encounter with that roll with a 4. To a-
Do you want my stealth?
yes, roll your stealth check.
16.
16. Great. They do not particularly notice you. They do, however, notice that as they are coming around a boulder, they find a little hollow. What am I looking at here?
Snake eyes.
Oh, great. Wonderful. They find a little boulder, and you hear some grunting that is unexpectedly close. Only a few feet away. Go ahead and roll initiative because you have come across a startled ape.
Uh-oh.
Startled ape.
So Robert,
That's
I
going to be
told
an
you
11 from me.
I wanted my character to be introduced by name. I said this.
That's right. Jared?
6.
Okay.
4.
Oh. I think I was
Alrighty.
you asking questions like, okay, so what are you doing? I think that's the story here.
And if I see this kind of tree? And what if I see this kind of tree?
Oh, I think we lost Aaron.
But we lost her with a
No.
fantastic wry look on her face. Classic Aaron.
Is Belvari rolling initiative too?
Belvari is not rolling initiative. If he jumps in, he can roll initiative. I'm sorry, I'm not super fluid with this encounter thing yet. So
hopefully Aaron is refreshing her page.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
All right,
the
Aaron.
internet allows her to.
You had an
back
8
on.
initiative, Aaron. She is frozen.
She's not. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Auto roll this guy and start. Diamondback, you see this ape type of thing, and it is not happy that you just came up to it. You are less surprised than anybody else. The ape itself was somewhat surprised as well. You get to go first.
How far am I from the ape? And this question is as a way of asking, is it going to get an opportunity attack when I run away from it?
You are close because you rounded a boulder and it's right there at you. How far is the distance for an opportunity attack?
Within 5 feet.
Okay. No, it is not going to get an opportunity attack.
Awesome. So what I do is I use my walking speed of 30 feet to use my movement. Well, I'm going to take half of it and go backwards some of the way.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, well, do I have very many of those left?
You just
no.
got a couple more from Sleem, at least 2.
Right, that's true. No, you know what? I'm going to back away from it. And while I'm backing away, I'm going to twirl my sling.
Mm-hmm.
Got a rock in my sling. And
Okay. Roll it.
for a 20. Oh,
Nice.
Natural 20 with the sling.
You do
versus
indeed hit.
this ape. So that's a 25 to hit. And I get to roll my damage dice twice.
You do. Do it.
Because it's a critical hit. Unfortunately, it's only a D4, but 2 plus 2 plus 3 is going to be 7 damage.
There you go. That's not
And
bad.
I back up the rest of the way to get both Davina and Yoshka in front of me, in between me and danger.
Memories of Sleem. I'm just kidding. Davina, you are next. You were taking the lead. You were actually closest to this thing. You could not easily run without it being able to attack you. You can back up a little bit and attack, but you can't turn your back and run without it getting a free hit on you.
Okay, well, I guess I will. So I cut out during when I. What happened? Who are we fighting?
You rounded a large boulder. When I say large boulder, I mean something like 10, 15 foot tall, big old rock that was just sunk into the soil. You came around the corner as you're going, and unexpectedly, there was just sitting there in the day an ape, a large ape. Well, not large, a medium, normal-sized ape. It was startled by you, jumped back. Diamondback did a quick retreat because he was bringing up the rear with you guys. Did a quick retreat, whirled a stone in his sling, and hit it, critically hitting it. A little pebble struck it right between the eyes. It dropped its iron spear. I'm just kidding. It was startled and it howled in pain and is swiping at its face. Not sure what just happened to it, but it's pretty sure that you did it.
Okay. All right. I've got a spear.
Okay.
That is what I have.
You also have magic components in your pouch.
Right.
But you may use your spear. You're right there. You can jab at it and take a few steps back.
How far away am I?
Feet. Handful of feet.
And yeah, I probably would use my spear rather than
Okay.
go for a magic thing.
You're using it as a walking stick, I'm guessing, something like that. So you have it at your ready. Roll your hit to hit it.
Where is that again?
On your spear, like on your.
In the lower right-hand corner, there's a panel that says Actions, Spells, Equipment, Features and Traits, Description. If you click on Actions, you'll see a list of actions. And if your spear is equipped, one of them will be Spear.
Thank you.
There will be a thing that says Hit/DC that'll have a plus something.
Just click the plus
Roll your
3.
D20 and add that.
I did. I got a 6.
Ouch.
Okay.
Yeah.
A 6 does not do anything. Your spear, you thrust it at the beast. It is as startled as you, but it's swiping at its face because of the thing that just hit it, and it inadvertently knocks the tip of the spear away from it. It doesn't even really exactly notice that, but you don't do any damage to it. It is now Yoshka's turn.
Okay. I have a quarterstaff in my hand.
Okay.
So I'm going to, first step in between Davina and the ape and try to whack it.
Okay.
And then also, it looks like I have, so do I have Bard, what do you call them? Bard feature?
Inspiration?
Yeah.
Not unless you have a
That's
component
10.
for it at this point. You don't have any of your...
That's not a spell.
What is it?
Oh. It's not a spell, it's a class ability.
What is it?
It allows you to give bonus die, right?
Yeah, okay. I'll say that's a vocal thing, a thing you're doing with your musical talents.
Is it a bonus action?
Yeah.
Typically, yeah.
Great.
To grant bardic inspiration? Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So, I'll attack the monkey with my stick.
Uh-huh.
And then also say something inspiring to Diamondback.
Good. Go ahead and do the attack. Tell me what about trying to hit it with your stick.
So I have this spear. It's 1d6 plus 2, right? 1d8 plus 2 is grayed out. I don't know.
You're gonna want
two-handed.
to roll the hit DC first to see whether you hit it.
So click the little +4.
Okay. 13.
You
And
did
then
hit it. Now click the 1d6 plus 2.
Okay. Why are there 2?
One is to see whether you hit it, and if you did, the other one, the first one sees whether you hit it.
With the quarterstaff,
are you using? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Quarterstaff, you can roll it with one hand damage or two hand damage.
So are you holding it in one hand or two?
I was imagining just taking it, because you already hit it, just taking it and whacking them over the head.
That's two-handed. It means that you cannot be holding any shield that you might have.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have a shield.
You were probably not carrying anything in your other hand as you hiked during the day, so you just pick it up like a baseball bat and do it.
Okay.
So that's the two-handed one, and you want to roll the higher.
Yeah, just
the
click
D8.
the 1d8 plus 2.
Okay, do you guys see that? 5?
Yep. Nice.
5 was your final damage on it?
Yes.
Okay. It is now the ape's turn. So you just bonked it in the noggin, as you described. It's hurt pretty badly, but it's also angry. It didn't really do anything to you, but it's not friendly. You don't want to try to, leave it be. Loving nature. It's hurt pretty thoroughly, and it's pretty angry. It is going to just take a quick swipe with its fist straight at the closest one to it, which is Davina. No, I'm sorry, straight at Yoshka, which is the one that you're the one who just whacked it in the head. It is going to roll a critical failure.
Nice.
It attempts.
Accidentally punches itself.
It is angry. It's flailing wildly about it. It misses you completely. And as a matter of fact, let's see if anything further happens. No, it was a dead even. So it just misses you and is a little bit confused. It's not sure what's happening. It is now Diamondback's turn again.
So can we do a really quick rules sidebar?
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition combat mechanics.
Tell me, absolutely.
So, Yoshka, you can do a thing where if you're within like melee range, within 5 feet of somebody, and you go away from them, then they get a free hit on you, right? And you wanted to protect Davina from that by getting in between her and you, or by putting yourself between her and the monkey. But it's not something that the rules actually allow you to do in that way, and also attack that turn. So if you wanted to get her to safety, what you could do was you can go up to the monkey and you can use an action which is available to you in combat called the shove action. And you can shove Davina behind you. And if she gets out of melee range of the opponent, not under her own power, but because she's shoved or moved by something else, they don't get that opportunity attack on her. Mm-hmm. So you can do this thing where you like get in between somebody and protect them in that way so that they would have the opportunity to attack on you and not her. But you can't do that and also do an attack in that same turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
but
what we narrated
it was allowed
was,
to happen. So
I mean, if Sir Robert says that that's what happened, then it's fine.
And in the future, if you want to get out of there, you can take the disengage action and spend your action getting out of their presence so that you don't get hit.
Having been briefly, intensely drawn into the action, almost incarnated as the ape myself, I set aside my omniscience and in my fleshly state knew not all of the rules.
Cool.
So what happened was exactly as we narrated.
No, that's a weird little quirky thing about how it's a mechanics thing.
The ape god is reigning from his violent tower.
Yeah.
Belvari would like to join in if he can, and he rolled an 8 for initiative.
Okay.
What?
I saw that.
Yay!
That sounds
But
great.
you gotta ruin your perfect streak of being
Diamondback, it's your turn again.
Creeper.
Diamondback, it's your turn again. The ape has now swung around. You saw it like swing its fist. It appears to be shadow boxing. It doesn't know what's going on. It got startled almost instantly. A giant rock hit it in the head, but it doesn't know what that was. It got bonked again. Crazy stuff happening. It's confused. Go.
I'm going to use my move to circle around to where I can get a clear shot at it with my sling without having to go past Yoshka and Davina's heads. Mm-hmm. And but stay within 30 feet of it. And I'm going to take another slingshot at it.
Do it.
And that's going to be 7 plus 5 is 12.
You do. You just hit it. It's a 12 AC.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. So it's going to take a delicious...
Remember, you can also... I inspired you.
Oh.
What does that do?
Well, that would have...
make it hit.
I could have gotten an extra D4 on the hit if I had not made it. That's good. Maybe I'll use it in a minute. But it takes actually 7 damage. I rolled a 4.
Okay.
Nice.
It is in bad shape, but it's definitely enraged, but also super confused about what's happening to it right now. You hit it, swings around. Belvari, unexpectedly to the rest of you, jumps into the action. Belvari, what do you do?
How far away from the ape am I?
You could. You're about 20 feet.
Okay.
You can make it to the ape or into the combat zone or whatever.
Is it possible for me to loop around the opposite side of the
big rock?
The big rock.
Yeah, that's fine. You can come around from the back of the ape, or
I'd like
from the back of the side.
Sling my pebbles at him.
Do it.
A 14 to hit.
That hits.
I do 3 damage.
And here's what you see. It has been raging. It tried really hard to help Yoshka be liberated from the tyrannical head that has been controlling its body. his body. But the ape missed and just was clawing at anger at itself. Diamondback pulled his sling out, whoosh, hit it again. It got frustrated, and the ape is swinging there. To your surprise, the young man who's been following you, Diamondback, you have noticed that there was somebody, but you don't know anything about him. Yoshka has talked to him a little bit, and Davina knows of it. This guy just emerges from the other side of the rock where y'all are fighting, and in a single fluid action, swirls his sling and whoosh, hits the ape. And you don't know exactly what he did, but that ape falls over dead. It is dead, laying on the ground, sprawled out in this little rock hollow, this vertical rock hollow. And this guy has just saved you guys from being ravaged by this ape. So I'll let y'all talk it out a little bit, and also don't forget you can look for components in the carcass.
Yeah, let's look to see make sure that ape is alone before we get down to the business of harvesting. But then let's harvest and invite this munchkin in to harvest with us so he can share the booty as a thank you for rescuing us there.
You all stop for a moment, dead still, listening, looking. There is nothing else in the vicinity. You don't hear any other apes. You don't see anything. It looks like it was alone, and this isn't really its I don't know, nest or hive or whatever apes have.
Hives.
It just seemed to be chilling out here and being here. So,
as soon as I can, I'm going to say, Diamondback. Wait, where's my accent? Diamondback, well done. You brought the ape to within an inch of his life, and to set this young lad up for a victory. Look at him. He's been following us for a moment. I think a friend. You did good work, and I'm gonna roll, if I can, a persuasion check to persuade Diamondback that he did the bulk of the work and did a good job.
I'm game for that. It is a very low DC for you to make a persuasive argument because he actually did do the bulk of the work.
Really what I mean is to
having facts on your side.
I know what you mean. To encourage him and help get him out of his doldrum of self-deprecation.
Yeah.
Go for it. Make a quick roll.
Okay. Okay. I rolled an 8 with a performance check or a persuasion check, I guess. Does that sound right?
Diamondback?
No, persuasion.
Diamondback.
+6.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, just +6 would be 14.
14. Diamondback, take that into account how you will as you play out the next episode. So, Belvari, you are there now. Do any of y'all say anything to Belvari? Besides, Yoshka mentioned him.
Yeah.
I try to give him.
Thanks.
Oh, I give him an understated, cool guy nod, and I say, "A fellow practitioner of the art of the sling."
And I go the other direction and start gushing.
Great. Yoshka, do you want to look for components while they're trying to encourage? How do y'all want to do components while y'all are encouraging Belvari?
I'm probably going to leave the components to Diamondback. So I guess leave him to be like, do you think there's something useful here?
Say,
look.
All right, let's look in.
It's likely that there are useful magical items in the body of this monkey.
You actually do find some, including a necromancy spell. I shouldn't say that. You actually do find some things. You look through the carcass of the ape, and you find... Let me roll my die. You get 5 claws. Oh, sorry, this is a frost-footed giant ape. Five claws, 4 good samples of its blood, And Diamondback, I think you might have narrated before that the way you do that is you have little strips of paper that you soak in.
Yep.
Okay. And 2 good samples of scat.
This Yeti's got a calcium deficiency.
Okay. So it is late o'clock. That is where we will end this episode. What happened in this episode is after burying Sleen, they found themselves being followed by an unexpected guest. They are unsure, but Yoshka suspects that the guest also has a pet with him, some kind of dog that he heard barking. They walked around, started traipsing through the jungle, and right in the neighborhood of 10 o'clock, they rounded a large boulder as they traveled to the northeast and found a surprised ape. The ape was not friendly. It was an aggressive one. They made short work of it, mostly through Diamondback's prowess with his sling, but also with the unexpected help of the new interloper who came in and with his own sling finished off the ape that was very shortly going to attempt to do significant damage to either Yoshka or Davina. Grateful for his help, they've introduced themselves and are making friends. And as they look through the remains of the ape, they were able to find several components that they could tell were coated with the black mist magic that permeates everything. So thank you for listening. You can get more details about this world and the story we're telling at thestarfallcollective.com. Feel free to watch on Twitch under the Starfall Collective next Monday for episodes 9 and 10. These will also air in our podcast, which can be found at thestarfallcollective.com shortly. Thank you very much.